Everyone, welcome to another lesson. We've spent a quite definitive time talking about objects in JavaScript. We've talked about how to construct an object, then how to access properties of an object, how to add properties to an object, how to delete properties from an object, and how to work with other object methods in JavaScript. In this particular lesson, we are going to be looking at the methods that are available to working with objects in JavaScript. And this is going to be the part one of that lesson. Herein that we are going to be talking about the overview of those methods and then dive in into each of the specific methods after talking about the overview of it. Object method are actions that can be performed on objects. Object method are function definitions stored as property values. If you could remember from the last lesson that we've started talking about something like this in JavaScript, where we've begun to examine how you can use our methods when working with objects in JavaScript. And simply methods are just actions that you can perform on objects. How to display JavaScript objects. Display the JavaScript object will output objects. Now, if you look at an example below, the example below is just a simple object of a person, and then it contains few properties for the person, the name, the age, and then the city. So if you try to access the object in the manner that you can see below, just by calling it directly, you will just get an object, and it's not going to give you specifics. Let's see what that means in our code editor. So, okay, working with objects methods. So this was an example of the last one we did for the package. But in this example illustrates how to access accessing this, how to access properties of an object. So I'll just go ahead and make a simple object and call it person. The name will be Welsh. My call give it an age of 20 and city of Dublin. So if I come outside of this and assign this to a variable, maybe I do something like let text. Just a second, let text equals to person, which is my my object name, then document dot get elements by ID demo dot inner HTML equals to text. And as you can see, right in our browser tab, you can see object, which is the correct thing that we will explain by trying to access our object property in this manner. Now, there are solutions to displaying objects when it comes to working with methods in JavaScript. And the first one is you can display an object with the property name. Don't forget that in the last lesson and in the previous lesson, you can do something like this to access the name. Yeah, and you can see that you are getting West. You can as well do that for age and the city. So the first method is that you can display object properties by name. That is the first solution through which you can display objects. The second way is through a loop. You can as well display object method. You can as well display objects using loop. And the third solution is you can display objects using object values. Object value is a method in JavaScript, a built-in JavaScript method that allows you to work with objects, and you will be seeing each of these as we continue to show a demonstration of how you can use them as you code along. And the last one, which is the fourth solution, is you can use the JSON stringify, how to convert your object into a string in order to be able to access it. All of this one method are what we are going to be taking a look at one after the other. So with our time, just let's quickly start with the first one. So using the object properties by name. So this is what I just display here, that you can use name in order to access your property. So I can concatenate this, which means that I can add this and say, okay, John, put space. If I want person.age, the person.age plus, can put space as well if I want, plus text, do something like this, and then the city, person.city. So let me just break this down so that you'll be able to see clearly. So if you look at this, you can see West 20 is from Dublin. So I want to put this from Dublin. So 20 was years of age. West 20 years of age is from Dublin. So this is one way through which you can access object properties in JavaScript. And then this is the first solution, which is by displaying object properties with their name. You can see that this is the object and this is the corresponding property name, the name, the age, and then the city. And the second solution, which I'll be talking about in this video, is using loop to display object property. So let's quickly take a look at that example of how we can use loop to display object property in JavaScript. So we are going to be using for in loop. For in loop is a loop method that is specific to working with objects in JavaScript, as you are going to be seeing in the demonstration that you are going to be seeing below. So let's just get started. So I'm still going to use this example that we have, and so I'm going to just try to build a text which I'm going to use as what to assign my loop to. So I will make this an empty string, and then I will loop over my object. So I can use X or anything, it's just an identifier, it could be anything, it will not affect the loop result as you are going to be seeing. So text equals plus equals person, and then I'm going to pass in the output that I'm expecting. Text plus space, and from here I need to take this out. I can just display the text this way. Now we can see I want to put space in between. Something is wrong here. Okay. Now you can see that in my screen I am getting something. I'm getting West, the name, age 20, and the city, Dublin, West 20, Dublin. And what this is doing is that I am looping over this particular object, and then I'm taking each of the value of the property, and that is what you can see that I am displaying in my screen. Now, using the for in loop with object does not work like the normal for that you see us use with array. The loop automatically just go through all the properties. So here we don't need the counter, whereby we say something like maybe x plus plus. No, we don't need that here because we are using for in loop, which is made specifically for objects in JavaScript. So this text can be anything, it can be keys, can be props, can be label. It does not change how the loop works at the end of the day. So the for in loop is best used with objects and not array. If you have to work with array, you can use the for or the for of loop. So you also must be aware that to access the results of your loop, you access it using this bracket notation. If you do it like the dot notation like this way, you will not get an output, and you see in your screen you are seeing undefined. So it is very important to take note of these things as you work with loop in JavaScript for in loop with object in JavaScript. And you can see that accessing the value of our array had to be in brackets notation, or else we'll get an undefined, which is not going to be the exact behavior of what we expect from our object. So these two examples, you have been able to see how we can access object property by name and also by using loop. And one thing I want you to take note of is the fact that when you're accessing object property with for in loop, extract only the values. As you can see that it extracts the values of each property after it has looped over it once, and then it extracts the value of each property, and that is the result that you can see right here in my screen. So in the next video, we'll continue to see how we can use other solutions that are available to access properties of an object in JavaScript. Thank you, and in the next lesson, I'll see you.